Leading your family and being a good parent starts with leading yourself well. Having a house manager isn't just about preserving our energy. We have a house that doesn't feel like chaos. Hiring as much support as you can so that we can be in the business, but then when we're at home, we have that energy to spend with the kids. Building a business and raising a family at the same time is one of the most rewarding and most demanding things a person can take on. And the entrepreneurs who do both well are not doing it by accident. They are doing it by design. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on what that actually looks like in our house and family. Today, JC and I are talking about something that is really close to both of us and something we know a lot of you are navigating too. How do you build something meaningful in your business without missing what matters most at home? We have 4 kids between us, 2 businesses, and a life that moves fast. And we have had to be really intentional about making sure that the family we are building for is not the thing that gets left behind in the process of building. Today, we are sharing what that looked like for us, what works, what we're still figuring out, and what we hope our kids take away from watching us do this. So today we're here to talk about balancing family and business and building it all together. I'm Angela Chanowski here with my incredible husband, JC.
Welcome. Thank you for having us. Sometimes you get a hot mic, but today we have a hot host.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Well, this is a topic we are super passionate about, not only in, figuring it out, how we've navigated it in the early days of doing it separately. And now that we're together, so those of you that don't know our story, we built businesses separately together, then met 3 years ago actually speaking at a show, and now have a combined family of 4 kids, got married a little over a year ago, and run businesses and a family together. So we're going to talk about what it looked like before and how it looks amazing now, mainly due to me. I'm just kidding. But what we've done and how we're trying to be intentional about that. So let's start back at the beginning. And what did it look like for you, Angela? Or in the early days? In the early days of you building a business and family, what did that look like for you?
Chaos, absolute chaos. A lot has changed since we met for the better of our both sanity in our lives and the kids' sanity too. But do we want to talk about life before with my ex-wife? Because I'll just say I wasn't even there. I was so busy working. I use work as an excuse to not go home because the lifestyle that we had was just not wanting me to be there. It wasn't happy. And again, we'll talk about sacrifices, but there's no regret in that life. I'm glad I'm past it now, but I didn't want to be home. So that was hard because I didn't get to see my kids. Then when we separated, there was the balance of how can I still work, but when I do have my kids, be intentional and be there for them, which was ugly and messy because I didn't know better. When the kids were there, it was distractions. I remember times they'd be sitting in the car with the air on and playing their iPads because I had to go do work still. I had to go do sales and do estimates and do all the stuff because I was a irresponsible business owner who thought I had to do everything myself, and which made for me at that time being a bad father to the kids, and so that was not great. But it got us to the point where we are today. Now with you, we're very intentional with our time with our kids and each other, and we put things in places or people in places like our house manager to allow us to be more present when the kids are there. And we're able to spend more quality time with them, travel more, and be intentional while we're there. So, yeah, it was a roller coaster. And just like most things, even when you have a kid, you're having your first kid, you don't know what the hell you're doing. There's books about it, but it's again, everything's a little bit different. Grateful for the experiences, but also it's there's ways to do it better. And that's what we want to talk about today.
Yeah. A lot of people talk about it now, but I don't think I didn't have a lot of people. I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning with my kids and doing it and balancing it all and just running a business with your kids in tow because people didn't talk about it a lot. It's so different being an entrepreneur when you literally can work all of the time, pour all of yourself into the business, and being a parent all of the time instead of the models that a lot of us see is like I drop my kids off at daycare or they go to school and I work from 9 to 5 and then we all come home and it's just like clearly defined time. And that's not what it is in being an entrepreneur. However, it can be this amazing thing. I want to give you a little more credit than you gave yourself for of things though that did go right as you did it early. And it may have been that you felt like there wasn't a plan of intentionality, but I know because the girls have stories of how much they love coming along to work, and so even though you might feel like, oh, I was dragging them along to work and they were sitting in the car, they have great memories of going along and getting to do things with you and being at the Christmas show with you and being at the office, um, signing thank you cards and being a part of the team. So there is a plate being at team breakfast, coming along and like being a part of a business and seeing what that is. And sometimes we do it in survival mode because we just like kids need to be with us. But a lot of that rubbed off on them and they made a lot of incredible memories.
Yeah. I mean, Annika's favorite memory was the time I took her to ResponsiCon and she got to fly in a plane. I bought a first list. I think the one and only time I've ever purchased a domestic first class ticket was for her because it was her first plane. We rented a Corvette while we were out there. And I was thankful for her for allowing me to bring my daughter at the time because I think she was probably 7 or 8. And I'm bringing her to a business conference with other business owners. And she was the only kid there. And I remember we bought a suit. We were both dressed in suits with ties. She's sitting in the audience on the computer. She might have been playing games, but she was there and she was present. She ended up getting recognized at the end of the event and got an award and got put on stage. And it was an amazing experience for me and her. We got to bond on a level we had never bonded before, not only traveling alone, but doing business and life together. She still talks about that day every time. She's like, Dad, when do you go back to Phoenix? I want to go to Phoenix. But it was also cool for other business owners to see the opportunities for their kids, to have their kids involved in their business, because I just want to like pivot back. Like I used to think I had to force my kids to want to do business with me. I thought that if I taught them to be a business owner, they'd want to be a business owner, and they hated it. And because I was forcing it upon them. And then I pulled back and just said, all right, let's just have fun. If you want to do something, we can do it together. Then they started enjoying things. So now seeing the kids want to show up and want to be present and saying, hey, how's Joe? Or how's Mike? Or how's nicknames for the guys? And then the people at the office, like, hey, where's the kids? Haven't seen them in a while. Like that is the life that we wanted or I wanted for the business prior to you, was to be a very family eccentric. And then now we had that with all 4 kids being a part of the business in some capacity. So just grateful for those opportunities where now you're reflecting on all these memories, and I kind of forgot about some of them, but it's still in their head to be able to look back and say, I got to do this with Dad, and it wasn't just work.
Exactly. So some of those might not have been intentional, but getting them to be in the family business builds so many memories. And my experience when my kids were young was a little bit different because it was me on my own. So not that moms and dads are different, but I didn't have another person like to rely on for childcare or any part of anything. So it was us doing it together. The first business was a dance studio. So they were at the dance studio, the dance and gymnastics studio all the time. But their memory of that is, and this is really funny. Hildy was on a podcast with me just 2 years ago and thought I have never been an entrepreneur, that I just now am a business owner and that the whole dance studio thing did not count because she thought that was just playing. I'm like, it's the same thing. It's business ownership, it's risk, it's all of that. But she literally considered that chapter of they just grew up in a big, gigantic playground, a building that was full of trampolines that they got to invite their friends for sleepovers. And it was just a big party. So I had a little bit different business that, they were coming there for classes and they didn't see it as much of a sacrifice. But I tried to hire help very early because I couldn't do it all. So that was my way and I tell people this now with kids, we have friends having kids now in business ownership. And I'm just like, hire as much help as you can. Help at home so that you can help at home, help in the business, because you literally can't do it all. And that's something we hang on to for so long. So that's one of the things that I am thankful for, that I hired help early, both at home, people to be present with the kids, and at work so that we could try and wrangle it all into one.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you're the first to figure that out, but the fact that you figured it out pre-social media back in like
Yeah.
the heyday of like where we didn't have instant resources, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have all these communities, we didn't have all these coaching organizations to rely on. Like you were able to crack the code at a very young, early age.
Yeah.
And then when you told me about this when we met, I'm like, this is crazy. We're not hiring this person. Now I'm like, oh my God, when we come back from our trip, it's like, oh, what'd she do today? Like, it's like a scavenger hunt for what our house manager was able to do for us while we're not there. The organization, the cleaning, all those little things that some people are like, you don't need a house manager. That's what a wife is for, or that's what the husband's for. Like, no, you do need this person because there's so much things that you don't need to be doing when you get home. Be intentional with your family. Do the things. Go for the walks. Go to the sports things, and not have to worry about those things. So you can invest more into your time, yourself, your personal health, your wellness, instead of just showing up and doing the messy things that nobody wants to do anyway.
Exactly. A house manager, I did introduce JC to that. Having a house manager is the key. We tell all of our entrepreneurship friends, and it looks different for some people. One of our friends just said, I channeled my inner Angela and we hired a night nurse and we hired these roles. And it is hiring as much support as you can. And we don't like to do dishes and laundry and keep our things organized, so that we can be in the business. But then when we're at home, we have that energy to spend with the kids. And it's one of the best things that you can do is get help and support so that you're not crabby at the kids because you're out of energy.
Right.
And that kind of leads into my next question of, what do you do now more intentionally? Like you said, when the kids were younger, it's like you're spread so thin. What do you do now more intentionally so that the kids don't get like the worst version of you?
Well, you talked about the energy audit. We talked about what we can do to light ourselves up. So it's getting rid of the things that don't make me happy. Get like if I come home with negative energy because my day was just full of negative tasks, negative things that do not excite me, dealing with the chaos, then I'm going to come home with that same energy and apply it to the family. If I wasn't happy at work, there's a good chance I'm walking through that door and I'm not going to be happy in the household. So getting rid of those things by hiring a unique genius strategic partner, by hiring a general manager, by hiring an operations manager, so that I only have to do and work with the things that light me up, will keep my energy high so that when I come home and I want to be home and I want to be intentional, the kids can feel that. You can feel that. There's been times where I come home and you're like, what's wrong? And if you're constantly coming home and nobody wants to talk to you, like, dad's in a bad mood. We better just go away. Like, leave him alone. Don't even talk to him. The angry bear is out. Right? Then who wants to be around me? And why would I want to be around people with that? So being able to offload those things and keep my energy high. Now, there's days that I do come home that it doesn't matter what I offloaded, there's still going to be something that creeps in there. That's going to happen. I don't care who you are, where you are. At some point, something's going to come into your life and affect you negatively, and you'll take that home with you. But for the most part now, when I come home, I'm freaking happy. I'm smiling. I want to be home. In my past life, I did not want to be home, so I chose work as an outlet to stay away from going home, and it negatively affected my relationship with my kids. But now we're more intentional. We like to travel together. They've come to events with us, which is pretty fun. We took them down to Florida. They went up to Sales Boost and got to see that too, the whole experience there. So yeah, I mean, it really comes down to is preserving your energy internally at the office or wherever your workspace is, so that when you come home, that energy wants to be welcomed and loved and expressing to be around everybody.
I think people talked about for a long time work-life balance and people thought of it in a time thing. Like, what do you have for work-life balance? Rather that be in a career or as an entrepreneur, what is your, family or work-life balance? And that doesn't mean just time. It's not like, oh, I went to work and I shut it off at 5 o'clock. That's something we have learned and we're really trying to be intentional about, is that it is the energy we're pouring into them. And one of the things that we do is our morning routine as well. Like we're constantly working on becoming better versions of ourselves, and our habits and rituals and routines we share with the kids. They may pick up on them, but they know that like we're not only getting our energy right by we have a very diligent morning ritual, get up at 4:21 because I like to get a couple cuddles in.
Cuddles and safeties.
Go to the gym, sauna, cold plunge. I love doing some morning pages and journaling and outside miles. And we're getting our energy right for the day so that we set our day up for success at work. And then, yes, have done things intentionally with our careers so that we can get the suck off the plate, delegate everything that isn't in our genius, and have somebody else do so that we have that energy right for each other and for them, that we're not coming home and there's a house full of stress, or we're always on the computer and have a whole bunch of things left to do.
I want to like kind of dive into something because we're talking about energy, we're talking about health, wellness, being the best version of ourselves. But so many people neglect themselves. They neglect themselves with their diets. They neglect their their exercising, and then even more recently, like we were neglecting our blood and what our body was telling us. I mean, I've been very deficient on testosterone since I was in my 20s, and I think it was a year and a half ago I got my labs back, and I was a 98 for my testosterone level, and I was running on fumes, but not realizing that I wasn't even showing up for myself. But I didn't know that I was deficient. So by going out there and getting these tests, I mean, it's so normal now for men and women to have low testosterone, and you think you're doing the best, but really you're barely showing up. So don't be scared to go get the blood work done. Don't be scared to improve on yourself. Don't be scared to have to take something, a supplement or whatever it is, to be able to be fully present, to be able to be 100% in your fuel tank, that when you show up every day, you are there, you are ready to go. And we're very transparent about that. I mean,
Yeah.
we got with a program that did this intensive, like very intensive and extensive blood panel, all these biomarkers and everything. And it was eye opening to see where I was deficient. And I wasn't scared to talk about it. I wasn't scared to get on the path to get better, because I realized that by doing that, I'll continue to be the best version of myself alongside with you and be able to share that story with other people, because most people are afraid to talk about that. So if you've never been tested, get your blood work done, check out your testosterone. I encourage you to go do it, because you may be good, and I hope you are, but some of you aren't, and it's really affecting your life without you even realizing.
That is, yeah, we've invested heavily in our health, in blood tests. And it's just another example of that best version of ourselves. And like leading your family and being a good parent starts with leading yourself well. So being a good leader in your in your business, but being a good parent starts with, yeah, leading yourself well, filling your own cup, making sure you're healthy in all of those ways. And it's just whether you're an entrepreneur or not. I think one of the most important parts of being a parent is modeling, mirroring what it looks like to continually like take great care of yourself. You know, we're raising our kids are young adults and teenagers that have lives of their own. And so that's one of the most important things that we can do and for them to get to be involved in is taking care of our health physically, our health based as, you know, model emotional health, taking care of ourselves in communication, and like that we're so grounded in that process and what that looks like for them. And that kind of leads into another thing of like, we do have structure and practices in our house that having a house manager isn't just about preserving our energy. Like, we have a house that doesn't feel like chaos and doesn't feel like doing whatever we want. And yeah, junk food everywhere and all different things. Like, we've designed a house and a family to try and be the best energy for them to become the best versions of themselves and supporting them in being able to do that. And I think that's a really important part.
Yeah, I used to hate coming home after our vacations or travel, and now when we come home, the house is clean, Everything's organized. We know the next day Sam will be there to take care of all the laundry and everything like that. So it makes the travel more enjoyable, but even more so showing up to the house. It's not like, oh, we got to deal with this. Now it's like, we get to relax and spend time and be intentional with each other. But we do love the dinners, making dinners together and stuff like that. That's fun being able to share that moment
Yes.
with the kids.
And that's something we can do with the family. So I'm going to kind of map out what day in the life with family looks like. We've said we are intentional about our time when we have the girls. And it doesn't look the same way all the time for us because we're traveling a lot, but when we're home and we have the girls, we are very intentional about that. And I think that's something we've both grown in, even though I may have had a plan with the kids earlier. It was a lot of just woo and chaos. And now we're super intentional. So our day starts at 4:21. Like I said, we go to the gym. We are investing in ourselves and try and keep business and technology out of it and really invest in our energy in the morning. We're getting them off to school, but we are also creating that energy for them, right? Like we're carving that out. We take them to school in a energy that isn't distracted. It's like we're not yet in the work zone. And I think that's so important. Like if you're with Nixie or I'm with Annika, whichever one we're with, we're like present and with them and setting them up for the day. And then we go off and do our work day and are intentional about our calendars and our energy and getting that set up. And then are intentional about being able to be present with them when they're home, of what's going on, being able to sit at the counter, being able to have that conversation. And it's one of the great things of having everything taken off the plate is I don't have to multitask and like load the dishwasher and do things. Like I can sit and see, do you need time with your homework? And so being able to carve that out of like, okay, my work hours today are 8 to 4. And now our time with the kids is 4. And we make dinner a big deal. We sit down at the table and no TV, no phones, making a big dinner and dinner being as an event. I'm not saying that's what everyone has to do, but that's what it is for us. We make dinner an event. It's something we can do and have conversations with the kids around a dinner table, and then be able to do something with them in the evening. And it isn't just that time, like we've said, it's how are we fully present? But I definitely see a difference in, not the chaos, but we've carved out a structure and it creates calm for them because they know what that looks like. So it's not going to look the same for everybody. But if your kids know to expect that maybe you're working until 5, but they know, hey, at 5 o'clock, this is family time. The kids know to expect we're all sitting around a dinner table, and this is the time I know I can count on my parents.
So I got 2 points on this one. One, habits are contagious. Good habits and bad habits. If you've got bad habits, you eat unhealthy, you eat junk food, fast food all the time, you're lazy, you make excuses, your kids will see that and they will develop the same habits. They're going to eat the junk food. They're going to be lazy. They're going to make excuses. And that's not good. I mean, you got to be the model for your kids. You got to show them what success looks like. And I remember in the beginning, the kids, the younger ones, didn't really want to go to the gym with us. Now, Nixie, she's 16. We come home and she's in the garage gym. She's in the sauna. She's on the vibration plate. She's doing workouts on her own. And if she can get to the gym with us, it's one of her favorite things to do is getting to the gym with us. Annika was totally against it. Now she's starting to do it. Hildy wanted nothing to do with the gym, even more recently. And then we're down in Florida a couple weeks ago. She did a full 5K with you.
Yeah.
Like that was so rewarding for me to see that, to see her running with you and did the whole entire thing. And now they eat healthier. They're more mindful about what they're putting in their body. So you can create those good habits and be the model for success in their lives, or you can continue having the bad habits, make excuses and not show up yourself. And then your kids will likely do the same thing. And the second part to that is where our struggle is having a split family. Like, we split the youngest kids 50-50. When we're with us, we have guidelines, we have rules. We sit at the dinner table together. We don't have the TV on. We don't have phones. We make them do chores and stuff like that. When they go home, it's a different lifestyle. It's a different mindset. They can eat what they want. I don't think they really ever sit down together and enjoy those moments. So, that's a hard balance too, to like bring them back in and say, all right, you had that for a week. And we're not saying that's wrong, but that's not how we do things in our house over here. And we want you to be the best version of yourself. And this is what we're going to do and why we do it. So having that open dialogue of why we're doing things, not just because we said so, is so important as well.
What is one thing that you've done to help keeping from? We've said it's really easy as an entrepreneur that your phone's still blowing up. There's still things that you could do. We could work all the way until midnight, and always have more that we can do in our business. I think especially now with like exploring AI, right? What is something that you've done? Because I've seen you get better and better at it, to not let work creep into those hours that were with family.
Yeah. Well, I will say one, getting rid of every distraction you can on your phone. For me, one is games. You knew that. If I have a game on my phone, it's forget about it. It's game over because that's all I'm thinking about. How can I get the next Candy Crush level? So I don't have any games on my phone at all. And I'm not saying if you do, you're wrong. But for me, I have a very addictive. There you go. Addictive personality. That if I have a game, that's all I'm thinking about is the game, nothing else. So I got rid of games. And then two, the biggest one was do not disturb. On my phone is do not disturb. It is on pretty much all day. And the only people that are allowed to actually communicate with me, i.e., not meaning that they can call my phone and it will ring, is you, the kids, my dad, and several people at the office. Other than that, if you're calling my phone any time of the day, you're going to voicemail. Most people think I just block them, but that's not the case. It's just a preventative measure to eliminate distractions. Because if my phone's going off and I'm in a task, well, then I got to go to the phone. I lost my focus. I lost my mindset. I might have a 30-minute conversation about something I didn't need to talk about at that moment. And then I have to come back into that task, get the momentum going back into it, and I've already lost it. So just by having my phone on Do Not Disturb, the only time that thing rings is if it's important, and that's family and critical people at the office. So that alone has really been a huge energy, like to be able to keep me focused when I'm with the kids, and with you. So because really, if I'm with the kids, that's 5 of the 8 people that are allowed to call me. And if it's 8 o'clock at night, that phone's not going to be ringing. And if it is, it's probably God telling me to do something because there'll be else that should be let that phone ring. So that do not disturb feature is so beneficial, to be able to preserve your time and keep you from finding distractions at any time of the day.
That's been powerful for you, and just blocking time and being intentional. Like, we easily pick up our phone if you have it in your hand and start scrolling social media. It's just a habit. And so for me, it's like putting that phone aside, the phone isn't with us, and then blocking time. Now, sometimes we have things that come up at night, like one of us is on a podcast, for someone on the West Coast. But then it's communicating with the girls so they know. It's not like they feel like, oh, we're always working. It's communicated like, hey, one of us is doing this, and this is on the schedule. This is an exciting thing, communicating it as exciting and knowing that one person is decided to do this commitment. But otherwise, I would endlessly be scrolling social media or looking at something too. But how do you just put that phone away? And then if there's something that needs to be done, you're communicating it so they don't just think you're not present.
I want to talk about bad habits. Like as we're talking about this, I've noticed this more in the last 2 years, and I'm still very guilty, and I hate myself for it. But if I'm in the car with the kids don't put their phones in their hands until I put my phone in my hands, and it drives me insane. Yet I still keep going back to it for stupid reasons most of the time. And no, I'm not dragging it on the phone. I promise you. Wink, wink. But like again, I'm very aware of a very bad habit. And they're aware of it too, because sometimes I'm not in that moment. And I say this to say that I'm not perfect. I'm not sitting here saying like I am the guiding principle. You have to do what I say, because there's moments in my life where I'm not living my best version of myself.
And car time is impactful. Like, don't waste that. If you have car time with the kids, it can be very impactful, but for them not to be on their phones, you've got to be intentional, like in carving out conversations with them. What do you want? So we've said our kids are in 2 different phases of life. So we've kind of been able to see the older ones. Hildy's 23, Thad is 26. Hildy is working in the business with us now. So even though she didn't think I was an entrepreneur 2 years ago, now she has come full circle and working in the business full time with us. And what do you want all 4 of them to learn while they're watching us build this together and take into life?
The big thing is, I remember growing up, going through high school, and the only thing that was ever preached to us is you have to go to school to be successful. You have to continue on college to be successful. And it's the furthest from the truth. I did do some college, but anything I did in college did not apply to the business I have today. So I want them to know that there's opportunities out there, but you have to go chase them. They're not always just going to be waiting for you. You're not going to open the door and success is be there for you. Sometimes you do have to sacrifice time, but you need to be willing to put in the work. You need to show up. You need to be present. You need to be the best version of yourself, and not rely on other people to find those opportunities or to create the opportunities as well too. So, and the other thing too is like for us, it's all aspects of life, and we talked about the mental health, the fitness, the physical, and continue to want to be better for yourself so you're showing up better for everybody else.
And we really try and talk to them and explain things so that they can see the power of entrepreneurship. I thought I was doing that for my kids, and I know they learned some parts of it because I've said it was hard for me being raised by an entrepreneur to go out and get a regular job. The kids see this enormous freedom, somewhat, that you have in your life. Funny things that Hildy said to me, and she still says now, she's like, I can't tell if you're always working or you don't ever work. Like your job seems like play, but sometimes you're always working as well. And so, them seeing you can dream and create whatever you want to. And not that going to work for somebody is bad, but letting them see, like, if you do and you're going to work, what a budget is, this is how much you're going to make, and that's what your life is. Like, this is what you're making, and that's what your life is. Like, you can do it, that your life is. Or there is this business art. We don't have to shove them into entrepreneurship, but letting them know you can create something, you can create a life and have whatever it is that you want. That's what I hope all four of them still catch, of like, whatever is on your heart, whatever your passion is, and you can build and create a life of, unlimitless possibilities.
Yeah, and then kind of touched upon like the second I stopped forcing it upon them was the second they wanted to entertain it. But when I said like this is what you should do, this is what you have to do, they're like, no, I don't want this. And if they want to go to college, I will support it. And I want them to make their own mistakes. I want them to learn from themselves. I don't want them to think that this is the only thing they can do, because if it doesn't bring them happiness, then why would they do it? Maybe teach them a lesson and tell them the exact opposite. So, yeah, once they started being able to show up on their own to work and wanted to be there, then they started seeing the opportunities. So, yeah, don't force it upon them. Let them see the opportunities that are out there, and then they'll want it more.
See the opportunities, and I would say it's a hard it's a hard time to raise kids because there's so many possibilities out there. You're not going to decide like, do you want to be a teacher or a nurse? I think that was my mom's generation. You were picking between two things, or it's not as simple, go to college and pick a major and go be something. Like, the world has changed, and I want them to have the confidence and empowerment that like they can use their skill set to make it whatever they want.
Yeah, and if there's any kids out there listening, or maybe you're having a conversation with your kids, like I just want you to know that every opportunity for everybody is different. And we talk about the blueprint. That blueprint is not going to be the same for anybody, but to be able to explore the options and don't think that because somebody told you had to go get a 4-year degree to be successful, that is the only path to success for you, because we know that's not the case. And there's so many trades opportunities right now for the HVAC and plumbing. Like that is an incredible opportunity for people to dive into. Go get a journeyman apprenticeship in electrical and then start your own path to success in that, or stay in that. But don't sit there and say, just because this is what they told us we have to do to be successful, that is the only path I can take to be successful in life. Because there's so many different options out there. There's the military, there's your trade school, there is college. I'm not saying there's a bad thing. There's definitely a need for it and for some people, but it's not for everybody. So be open to exploring different opportunities and don't just settle for what is comfortable. Because if you don't want to be comfortable in life, which we shouldn't be, you're going to have to take some risk and take some challenges to get where you want to be.
How do you hope our kids, when they look back at this season, reflect on, or what do you want them to say about how we showed up for them?
Man, I'm getting deep with this thing, huh? You know, I'll look at it like I looked at it and through myself as a kid. Because I remember when I was growing up, we had split parents, split states, and I look back when I was going through life as a kid. I felt that the opportunities that were presented or afforded to us at the time were not in the best interest for me as a kid. It was what my mom wanted. I wasn't grateful for my stepfather at the time. Unfortunately, he passed away several years ago. And then as I went through life, and then I became a parent, and then I look back, I'm like, holy cow! Like because of my stepdad, you know, it's allowed me to want to do things that he was able to do to us with our kids. And because of my father, you know, always showing up and always being there as a father, as a friend. And, you know, like now I'm trying to emulate that for our kids. So, you know, I don't think they're going to understand everything clearly today. And in 5 years, they'll have a different understanding for what we're doing. And then when they become parents, it's probably going to come full circle. I'm like, holy shit, mom and dad were right. But I just want them to understand that no matter what we're doing right now, it is for the best of them, for the best in their life, their best in their future, to be the person that they can be, and not have excuses, and to continue to show up to be the best versions of themselves. So, you know, when it does click, kids, I want you to come back and say, Dad, Mom, you were right, because I will remember that very clearly. But until then, we will continue to challenge them and continue to show up for them no matter what.
Well, you said that very well. And I can say ditto, but I echo all of that, that they feel that this was a time that they felt safe, that they felt loved and supported in becoming the best version of themselves and figuring that out of what that next chapter looked like. And that we showed them opportunities and experiences to let them develop into that. So if you're listening and you are a parent that is going through, balancing work and family and running a business and running a family, you're not alone. And we talk a lot about community and surrounding yourself with a community. And this is one of the topics where it's important to do that too. Surround yourself with other business owners that are leading families, because we didn't just come up with all of this ourselves. And when we have conversations with our friends in our tribe, we get new ideas and new encouragement about what they're doing, or conversations that they're having with their kids, or things that they're doing at dinner or trips or whatever. It's important, especially in this area, like to have people that you can lock arms with that have the same values.
Absolutely. Yes. Surround yourself with like-minded people with the same values, the same beliefs. It's so important, not only for yourself to reinforce your beliefs, but for your kids to be able to see that it's not just us. And that's seen that oftentimes, like, Dad, you're crazy. And then they see other kids and they're like, well, maybe you're not crazy, Dad.
Well, we're going to keep doing the best we can at building empires and building our warrior kids as well.
I love it.
So we answer all of our comments on YouTube. So we'd love for you to drop a comment and let us know. Is there something that you're struggling with or working on as you're running a business and running and balancing your family as well? We'd love to hear from you. And if this content resonated with you, we'd love for you to subscribe and get our weekly content just like this.